We have a very exciting week. We have Taira Juanito here from Colombia. He is an indigenous ayahuasquero. He's an amazing healer and curandero. He's an amazing shaman. So we're blessed to have him here this week. We used to have Taira come maybe 4 times a year, but starting next year, we have him coming basically every other week. So he's going to be at Rythmia 25 times next year. So very cool. So we love having Taira here because he trains all of our plant medicine providers, and everybody that serves medicine here has worked with him in some capacity, and he's very skilled. And so what ends up happening for the guests that come during Taira week, or really any week, but especially when Taira's here, is they get to go super deep into their own process and figure out, why they're feeling upset in their life, or why they're, struggling with different coping mechanisms that aren't working anymore. People develop addictions because they want an escape, from life, or they use it as a tool to overcome, anxiety. But in the end, the substances of addiction don't work, and they develop further problems. And so my clinical supervisor, Dr. Bobby Carlson in Pasadena, used to tell me when I was doing my postdoc, she says, addiction causes trauma, or trauma causes an addiction. And it's kind of like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? But I think both are true, right? If you have trauma, you don't know how to deal with it, an addiction can develop. But through your addiction, you will experience trauma. And so trauma is a big thing. Trauma is something that's really basically a part of life. And the severe trauma that happens in life can hold us back, because if we don't process it and get through it, it can dictate how we interact with others and what we feel about ourselves. And it can really be a difficult sort of situation. So the number one thing that I feel that plant medicine helps with, and ayahuasca in particular, is it helps overcoming trauma. That's why we have a lot of military veterans that come here, a lot of law enforcement veterans and active duty people, not military active duty, but active duty law enforcement, that come here and handle trauma. And a lot of us have trauma from other parts of our lives, from abuse, abandonment, neglect. So there's a lot of work that Taira is going to be doing this week, and we're glad that he's here to help us with this process for everybody. So, Rythmia is an interesting location here in Costa Rica, and an interesting program, because we're actually empowering people to do the work themselves. And we're not doing the work for them, and we're not like holding their hand all the way into the process. We're showing them the way, and then helping them feel safe to do the work. And that's why this is empowering. That's why this is effective. It's because I always knew, as a therapist back in Los Angeles, I always knew that the only real healing comes from doing it yourself. And therapists can help, like I said, point you in the right direction and can help provide support, but they can't do the work for you. And we get used to, in a Western system of convenience, we get used to, well, if I push a button or pay a certain amount of money, then all of a sudden things should just start changing and happen for me. Well, that's not necessarily true in this case. You have to do the work yourself. You have to. And you might not know how to. And that's a big problem. That's why most people don't do it, because they don't know how to. And so we're going to show you how to. We're going to show you how to do it. We're going to help you through it by providing support. And we're going to point you in the right direction. That's what Rythmia is about. So get down here, work on your trauma. Let's get it handled for the holiday season. You can have actually an enjoyable holiday for once, right? So come down to Rythmia and let's get this handled. Thanks for watching, you guys. See you next week. Pura vida.